There are over 7 billion people in the world, most of them living a normal life, doing normal things every day. But a few choose to be different from the rest. What qualities did Jack Welch have that made a simple chemical engineer one of the best CEOs the world has known? Did Steve Jobs know he would change the way we lived our lives by putting the virtual world on our fingertips? What made Sachin Tendulkar different from other cricketers? How can we explain the talent of A.R. Rahman, who has created several masterpieces year after year? Were these people born exceptional, or can anyone be exceptional? That's a question that has been asked time and again, and some have tried to find answers. One such person is Tarunjit Bachir and his company Manford, which over the years has worked with over 100 Indian companies and more than thousands of people to talk about breakthroughs that can make anyone exceptional, provided they choose to do so. So as he leads us through the journey from being good to great, let's start with the most fundamental question. What is exceptionality?
By the very definition of the word exception, exception is defined as something which is significantly different from whatever is the norm. There's a prevailing norm, and anybody who's significantly different falls in the realm of exceptionality. So exceptionality can exist in any walk of life. It's just about how different they are, significantly different they are from whatever is the prevailing norm.
Are there building blocks which are similar for people who are exceptional, who are standouts?
There is a lot that's common. So let me just take you through a bit of research that's been done. And one of the most fundamental research on exceptional people and people who achieve significantly more was done by a professor called David McClelland. McClelland came from the Harvard University and interestingly enough in the 60s came to India to do a study. Landed up in a place called Kakinada and started looking at people in a largely unconditioned environment on what produced exceptionality there. Was exceptionality something that was taught at Harvard and the IIMs, or was it something that was innate? And what he discovered was very interesting. Even amongst populations of tribals, where the outside conditioning and the peer pressure on exceptionality wasn't too much, people chose in the same situations to act exceptionally. And what he found was very interesting. He made a couple of findings. Number one, he found almost everybody, and he discovered this through a series of experiments, almost everybody had what it takes to be exceptional. The raw material to be enterprising was there. Most people had produced something exceptional in whatever measure at some point in their life. But the most startling revelation was, it's only a few who can sustain that exceptionality for long periods of time. And those are the people who we would really call exceptional. Not a spurt in the, not a flash in the pan, but something that's sustained for long periods of time.
It's interesting because what you do is use behavioral science and the learnings from there to train corporates, to train leaders, So in a sense, do you see a lot of this play out in offices where you have people who are perhaps working in spurts and, not in a sustained manner? Can you help them with the kind of insights that you have?
Certainly. Behavioral science has really shown that since exceptionality, a lot of it is learnt, it can be taught, it can be experienced. And if you look at a corporate, the environment is the same. The leader is the same, the culture is the same, the values are the same, the market is the same. Some people in any organization will consistently do well. Put them in a tough market, put them in a tough recession year, they'll do well. And some people will consistently seem to miss the bus. And the difference is not so much in the circumstances, they were the same. The leader was the same. What produced exceptional results, a lot of it is internal.
And that is at the heart of all behavioral sciences, and it even pertains to the corporate world. In fact, behavioral science had its origins in the late 18th century when the Industrial Revolution reworked the rules of engagement as people were thrown to work together under trying conditions. One of the earliest behavioral scientists was Ivan Pavlov, whose big breakthrough was on how the environment influenced the individual. While his study formed the basis of behavioral science, over the years several other scientists like Abraham Maslow, David McClelland, Carl Gustav Jung and others developed theories on motivation and what drove people to perform.
And what Jung found was very simple. Allow me to just take a minute to take you through it. Right at the outside, what you and I experience of each other is behavior. What I am noticing about you and what you are noticing about me at this moment is my behavior. Behaviors are driven by feelings. Feelings are driven by something called attitudes. You will notice in the same organization, you will have two people given the same task. One will say, I will complete it come what may, as if his or her life depends on it. The other will say, if it does not happen today, it can always happen tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we will find another day. And the difference between the two is largely an attitude. Now, attitudes are not taught, but somewhere they get formed. And where they get formed is early on in our life. And early on in our life, the dominant experiences around us, whether through inputs from parents, teachers, the environment, the friends we had, the movies we saw, the influences we were exposed to, what they help in shaping is something called a value. But more than a value, they shape something called a belief system. And we believe that belief system to be true at a point in time. So somewhere in an organization, if you are looking at changing behavior, you need to dig a little deep to figure out what feelings, attitudes and belief systems actually drive an individual. Once we are able to figure that out, we are able to address issues related to behavior.
And this interestingly is shaped much early on for the individual, in childhood. On the other side of this break, we discuss how the first few years of an individual play a very crucial role in shaping his or her future.